Alright, so this is an ongoing issue. The reason why you're not hearing any noise is because I turned the sound down. I do not want to get flagged or some idiot thinks I'm copyright infringing when in reality I'm not. All music is down. The game you see in front of you is Call of Duty Advanced Warfare for Xbox One. And we've had the Havoc DLC for about a week, maybe 2-3 weeks. And with the Havoc DLC, you're supposed to get the game that is right in front of you. I mean, the weapon that is right in front of you, correct? Well, unfortunately, it says, oh, purchase the Havoc DLC. I'm not purchasing the Season Pass. It comes with the Havoc DLC. I hit Havoc DLC. And it says you already own the Havoc DLC. You can get it in your game and apps collection. So, the question I have to ask is, especially to Activision and Sledgehammer Games, is what is the deal with this weapon? I've literally been hearing a lot of weird baloney going on about this freaking weapon. People are unable to access it. I think there are some people who've managed to access it while others can't. What is the deal? I bought the Havoc DLC. The Havoc DLC is on the console. It is in the hard drive. Why exactly am I not able to use it, huh? You pay money for the thing, and yet the encryption for it doesn't disable. It's still on there. I still cannot access it. It's almost as if it did not come with the DLC, which kind of makes me think they forgot to put the program files in for the gun in the game, in that DLC. But it's not just the issue with the Havoc. It's also an issue with the Season Pass, because apparently people last year, sometime very early in December, were able to access the AE4, and, well, they really couldn't access the AE4, because though Season Pass owners got to use it early, they couldn't really use it early, because this issue was blocking them from using it. They could not access it. And this issue is both on Xbox One and PS4. There's proof right here. The Xbox One, I can't access the AE4. I'm not going to go crazy over it because it's just a gun. But, if the DLC were just the gun, I would go nuts. Because you pay money for the thing and you expect to use it. And then you figure, no, I'm not sure how good the AE4 is. But, we mostly bought it for zombies and the map. I could care less for the gun, because so far the only guns I've actually ever used are the submachine guns, which, at least to me, are the only good guns in this game. I'm being honest with you. But, yeah, I don't know what the deal is. I've tried. I'm not going to resort to the ridiculous, acrobatic, movements of, uninstalling the game, reinstalling it, deleting my freaking profile, and then reinstating my profile, blah, 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 blah. There were tons of people who said they did that just to get this gun to work. I want to see how long this thing is going to remain broken, because it's ridiculous. This is another example of stuff being released broken. Literally, it's a good example. We've had bigger examples. Actually, I have a bunch of them. Okay. You guys can't see it, but another example of a broken game is, yeah, you see it right there. But yeah, this game, it released with a, kind of shaky multiplayer, but not as broken as Master Chief Collections. But, it's to be expected with Call of Duty, but yet again, it shouldn't be too expected, because you'd figure you'd learn your lesson after, the first 4 or 5 installments, but I guess not. This is another issue. I mean, when you buy DLC, you expect it to work. You expect the gun to be accessible. And apparently people are having the same issue on the 7th gen consoles. They can't access the gun. It's still locked behind a paywall, which shouldn't be existing, but, you know, it's still there. And people can't access it. I have looked at, I've looked at it. I've looked at forums. People are saying the same thing. People are unable to access it. Hey, look, just in case you missed the first part, I'll do it again for you guys. Yeah, you already own the Havoc DLC. I should have this gun in my inventory so I can use it in multiplayer, but apparently not. Activision. Oh yeah, actually no, I'm not going to blame Activision here, because if they're the publisher, then what else are they going to do? They can only publish the stuff. I'm actually going to blame, who am I going to blame? I am going to blame Sledgehammer Games for this, unless it was Activision's fault somewhat because they rushed the DLC, which seems to be the case with most modern games nowadays, where, they just rush the game out and then just freaking fix it with patches later on, which is, kind of BS. I find it to be very BS, freaking rush the game out and then patch it later. And, imagine if this were a game, right? You bought a game. Like, imagine if this was like Dying Light or some game you bought off, the Xbox Live Marketplace or PSN. The first thing that you'd end up dealing with is, the download, right? You download the game, and then after that long 50 gigabyte download, you go and play the game. That happens. It says you don't own the game, but you own the game. You paid $60 for the game, and it doesn't launch because it says you don't own it, but then you go to the store and it says you already own it, then what's the deal? If this happens to games, if this is happening to DLC, what if this happens to games? What if this happens to a game? Imagine that. It's buggy. It's broken, and I'm not trying to say that this doesn't happen to other freaking digital distributors. Or freaking Steam, it happens there too sometimes, but I don't know how often. It probably happens in Origin and Uplay and every other one, but this is... Frickin' get your stuff straight before you release it. I mean, come on. I mean, this is bad. If this can happen to DLC, okay? This can happen to DLC. Imagine that happening to a whole $60, 50 to 60 gigabyte game. Imagine if it happens. Imagine if it happens to a whole game. And it says, oh, well, you didn't buy it, but I clearly bought it. I paid you my money, but I can't play it. And no, I'm not talking about like, preloads and stuff like that. I'm talking about buying the game where it's officially launched and you still can't play it. Imagine if this happens. And I have the Havoc DLC. I can prove it to you guys. In case some idiot happens to be on here who says, oh, you don't own it. I am going to show you that I own the Havoc DLC. One of the modes that comes with the Havoc DLC is right here, Exo Zombies. I have Exo Zombies on my console, on my game. I can play it, I can run it, I can play it. What's kind of funny is I can also use the AE4 in Zombies too, but I can't use it in multiplayer. And, another thing I have to kind of complain about is that this game has been, like, freezing up lately. I don't know what the deal is, but it happens. I have full access. I can run the game, I can start it up. It takes a little bit longer now to freaking run games now. I have no clue. It for some strange reason, Advanced Warfare's been fidgety lately. It's been, kind of freezing up on me. I don't know if it's because of my disc is dirty or whatever, but to me, it seems to be it seemed like something ticked it, and then it just kind of went nuts and just stopped working. Start game. And Outbreak Exo Zombies, it is loading, and you will see I will have access to Outbreak Exo Zombies, which is the only zombies map that was released. It came with the Havoc DLC, and it should be up about now. The loading time, honestly, I find the loading time to be annoying. It's clearly done, but it's still loading, which is a pain. There we go. It's right there. I'm using one hand to control this. You can clearly see it. But another issue I had to complain about this is the fact that also you can't pause it. But that's for another video. I cannot use the gun in multiplayer.